Member Dolman.
Here.
Member Wicks.
Present?
Chair Hunter.
Here.
And members Stradiff, Deegan, and who else are we missing? Kerwick are absent, but we have a quorum.
We have a quorum.
Yep.
Okay, the minutes of the last meeting, February 3rd meeting, anybody have any comments, corrections, notations?
I move they be approved.
Okay, second?
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor of that, say aye?
Aye. Aye.
All right, we have any non-agenda items in the audience? I don't think so. Anybody on board on the TV land?
There's two people on the Zoom, but neither of them are raising their hand to speak right now, so.
Okay. All right, well, then the first thing to do is the approval of the resolution granting fire sprinkler exemption request for 97, 101, 102, and 104 Skokie Valley Road. We have the resolution of the, not the resolution.
Yep.
Yeah, the resolution is here. Anybody find any issues with it?
And just two things I wanted to mention. We do have the applicant online on the Zoom if we have any questions for him.
Oh, okay.
And also, my recommendation there, we had said immediately for the first three items, but I'm recommending that we actually choose a period of time, like 30 days, so that they're not in violation tomorrow.
Some of that they had already started, right?
They have done some work
Yeah,
towards getting that done.
that's fine. We don't want to throw them under the bus yet.
Right, yeah.
Well, I only had two minor things regarding the very last page, and that's that normally an agreement means it's signed by two people, but the other one would be the village, and there's nowhere for the village to sign.
Oh, I will make sure we have a signature
I'll
line.
leave that up to the lawyers to determine.
Yeah.
The other thing is, my understanding is to be recorded, and if it's recorded, usually things have to be notarized, and there's no spot on here for a notary.
I'll double check with our attorneys on that. I don't think it has to be notarized.
I'll just ask them if it's
I'll
going to be
double check.
recorded, it usually does have to be.
Yeah, right. I'll double check on that.
That's all I had. Minor.
Yep, okay.
Art, anything else?
No.
Sue? I didn't have anything else. So we need a motion to reapprove this? We approve
Yeah,
this.
we have final approval.
Yeah, we have final approval,
Right.
as amended by,
Well, I'll move that we approve it as written, subject to, as Mike suggested, changing the first few areas from immediately to 30 days.
Thanks.
I'll second that.
okay. Roll call,
Okay.
first call.
Member Wicks.
Aye.
Member Dolan.
Aye.
Member Cottrell.
Aye.
And Chair Hunter.
Aye,
Okay, motion passes.
that's good. What do I do with everything else? Okay, so we are moving right along. This is a big night, big deal of the night, which is the design review for the Lake Bluff Yacht Club at 503 Sunrise Avenue. And it's your show now, so
It's good to see you all again. Been a long ride since we were here in October.
pleasure's happened.
It was fun. So I'm gonna have David and Ted speak for most of our meeting. David is our fence expert, and Ted is going to be building the, and kind of our design brain for the building itself. Really, the design, I'll have Ted go over what the lights we chose, the siding, the roof, the dormer. You'll see in there that I put, I'd like to have a nice, not exactly what is listed there, but like a nice oval sign that says Lake Bluff Yacht Club, established when it was established. We're probably in the midst of wanting to get some donations going and potentially have a small plaque like there is on the shelter that says who donated and who helped us get here. So I put that all in here. I don't know if you want me to come back again to get like an official yes on the actual plaque and the actual sign we might put, but I put examples in here just to have something for all of us to have an idea off of. The fence has been the largest hurdle or kind of mixed reviews that we've gotten the most feedback on. So we originally went to the village because we are co-applicants with the village. The village asked us to switch our design from a 6-foot fence to an 8-foot fence, and they were kind of indifferent on it being opaque or being private or being kind of more of a picketed, transparent aluminum fence with privacy by natural bush, which is what we would prefer as a club. We then went to zoning. Zoning says, the hell with your 8-foot fence, we want a 6-foot fence, in nicer ways than that, sorry. And so we said, okay, we'll go with a 6-foot fence. And for us, economically, when you are at a 6-foot fence, the 6-foot fence is a lot less expensive because it's residential. As soon as you go to an 8-foot fence, it's deemed commercial. Therefore, we're gonna be paying this nice man more money, which I'm fine to do if it's necessary. And then, so when we kind of looked at the rules and like, you know, for someone to have a pool in town, the regulation's a 48-inch fence. And so we said, this is not really any more dangerous or less dangerous than a pool. So we just said, hey, let's go with the 6-foot fence. It's more economical for us. But if someone is adamantly about an 8-foot fence, like, so anyways, you get my point as far as we're not really anchored in one option. We think that the biggest feedback we got when we were here in October, and then George Russell came to the meeting and asked us to go back to zoning, is really about bulkiness. And so we thought a 6-foot fence would be less bulky. We thought a kind of a see-through fence with natural landscaping would be more aesthetically pleasing and it would create less bulk. So that's where we are, right? We said 6-foot fence, tall grass, low maintenance grass to kind of keep privacy if that's what some desire. But we're playing with all these different options of if we go with an opaque fence, the wind load off the lake, as we found, is going to be too much we're going to have to replace it all the time. So I'll let David talk about that. But anyways, I just wanted to give you some background of why we've switched probably 4 times about the fence, whether it's private or opaque or open, 6-foot, 8-foot, landscaping, no landscaping, or landscape boxes. None of us are anchored in any decision, but we did come with what we'd prefer, so that's why we're here. So, David, you want to talk about the fence first?
Yeah, well, let us ask you some questions, and then you guys can answer, or you can answer.
Cool.
Yeah, at this stage of the game, we're going to try and move this along, and so let's keep it kind of informal, as far as I'm concerned.
And we do have other people that want to speak too on this item too.
Okay. Online?
No, in the audience, in the back.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Well, we'll do our thing, then you can make your comments. Okay? Sue, you want to start?
First of all, just quickly, I just want to thank you all and everyone who's come before you on this for spending all your time and all this energy and effort, and everybody who worked on this in its previous iterations for our community, because I know it's a lot of work, so thank you. I think I need to hear more about the fences and how you got to them. You said, somebody said 8-foot and somebody else said 6-foot. Who were those people again, and what were their reasons on the 8 versus the 6?
So Village, can I mention names from Village?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Susan Ryder in particular was kind of just worried, rightfully so, about like, is an 8-foot fence going to be enough security?
Okay.
Right, and our finding, or half jokingly, is a teenager's only going to climb it in 2 less seconds than a 6-foot fence. So And on the back end towards the bluff, it's going to be a black chain link 6-foot fence anyways. It's what we can do back there. So ultimately, my experience, we've seen kayaks and paddleboards just live on the beach all summer with just laying on the beach, and they're still there 6 weeks later. Lake Forest itself, they have a nice wooden structure on the front side of their beach, like almost towards their rocks, where if you go there right now, there's kayaks and paddleboards and sunfish just sitting with no fence. So I still think we need a fence. I still think the security purpose is what we need. But I think just if we look to the neighbor next to us, they don't have any fence. We don't really, our option for an opaque fence is a chain link with fabric. So I'm getting off topic with the height. 8 foot is what Village mentioned. And so we quickly after Village, because we had to go to zoning right after Village a couple days later, we quickly changed our slides to go to 8 foot because we don't care either way. And then when we got to zoning said, we recommend a 6 foot opaque fence. And so we said, we can't do an opaque fence based on our fence expert, but we can do a 6 foot fence. So, but we can make it opaque with natural shrubing. So we kind of solved both in a different way than the fence being opaque. The landscaping will make it opaque.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I just was trying to see where everybody was on that, and why.
Just come up to the microphone. We do have people remotely who can't hear you, when you're not at the microphone.
My name's Dave Holdsworth. I'm a resident here. I also work for Superior Fence and Rail. We've been kind of trailing along in this whole process, giving them different options. One of the, in all fences, there's always this trade-off between perceived security and visual security. And a lot of times with the wood fences, you get the visual security by putting wood close together. In this case, you've got kind of a special condition because you've got a lot of wind coming in off of the lake. So to do a truly opaque fence, like we did all the way down in Shore Acres, that's an 80% open fence. So 80% of the wind can't go through, 20% does. And if you see now, there's a few things that sort of pook out at the bottom now and again, but that's kind of what your options are. There isn't a 60% open or a 40% open. They just don't make that in that kind of mesh. So one idea was to try to soften the fence, whatever the fence is, whether it's chain link or picket fencing or whatever, is to do some of the, and I think you've got a slide in here somewhere that I just saw, to do some of the taller grasses. And I think that one of the ways that my wife and I use this facility is to walk past the boats on our way to church in the summer. And it's to have some landscaping there, very inexpensive, very, easy to maintain. Kids fall in it, there's no great tears. It just kind of softens the nature of the fence. So that was something that was brought up as kind of a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But, in Lake Bluff, we're just trying to sort of soften the edges a little bit. Is that the answer a little?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Too much
No, not at all. I think that I think that's great because
Yeah, so I think we're kind of landing close to what I think makes sense there. Originally, we had proposed chain link all the way across the front, just from a cost perspective. And the pushback on that was, let's make it look a little nicer. In Lake Forest, there's, around their boat enclosure, it's all chain link in the front, yes, but not that many people are walking past that. That's a boat-only area, so you kind of expect that. This has to have multiple audiences. And so the idea was to do a picket fence with a little bit of landscaping, and, we're kind of balancing.
My only thing about the thought about the landscaping, I actually like that, I think it would look nice. And the landscaping they did down there in front of the, is that the reclamation building, is that the official? I think that looks really good. I think maybe you could get, I don't know, like the garden club, or somebody involved in the landscaping and maybe different kinds of grasses and maybe a little bit of a landscape plan rather than just a wall of grass.
I think that's a great idea. I think that's all open. I think we're very open to that from a design point of view.
Yeah.
Grasses are not that expensive, so, to have a little bit of textural interest there, I think that would be something I'm very interested in pursuing.
But,
Planting and sand.
yeah,
I know.
So we've got to be very, some of the species won't work there, but
Yeah.
some of them will.
Yeah, no, that's definitely, that
Yeah, the
understandable.
idea is to try to get it so that, if a kid falls into it, they're not going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And they're really not going to damage a high-value plant.
Yeah, yeah.
Grasses are grasses. They kind of do their thing and they grow quickly again.
Because I know I was looking at the picture that you included there of what's kind of there now or was there, and there was just that big hedge. And I was thinking, I don't think it would look great if it was just one wall of all one kind of grass. I think that would just,
Yeah.
I think if you could like figure out to have someone help you like kind of vary it and make it look
There's a lot of
intentional.
landscape talent in town.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
we can find somebody who will be able to advise us on that.
Yeah, that would be my only input.
okay. We got three parts to this project.
Fence?
Primary piece
Yep.
is the building itself.
I know, but that's not where they started.
No,
So
I
I'm
know,
okay.
yeah.
I'm
But
waiting
so,
for that.
We got the building itself.
Yeah.
Then you got the stuff inside, which we aren't responsible for.
Right.
And then you got the fence, which we are responsible for.
Yes.
So what's your comment about the building?
I would think are they gonna make a presentation on the building? Are you guys gonna
Yeah.
talk about, okay, I wanna
We got
wait.
sidetracked.
I wanna wait until after that. I thought we were doing,
I brought up the
If I could-
fence
yeah,
because I know it's the biggest point, and that's why I brought it up.
yeah,
We'll go back to the boathouse itself.
Yeah, let's talk about the boathouse first.
okay.
Theodore, I might let you take over and just kind of talk about the roofing and the lights and the dormer and.
Hello, everybody. Ted Stanizak. I live on 362 Hearst Court, and I've been working with the yacht club on the design. Are y'all familiar with the changes since the last meeting? So we should go there. Okay. So the presentation last time, the building was full 2 stories. We've lowered it now to essentially 1 story with a dormer on the front. Total height, I'm a little lost right now. I think it's 15.9 coming down from 24, so it's significantly shorter. 30 feet wide. We've gone to 20 feet deep. We were at 24, so we've shrunk the entire building considerably. We're looking at heat treated wood for the exterior. Pine, I'll pass an example. We've got 2 options. We're doing really high quality materials.
Okay.
Well, that's what it looks like when we order it. We're gonna let it age, and so it'll turn silver over time. Galvanized aluminum roof, white doors. Actually, we've got Mike. If you could move us forward to the rendering of the building.
Let's see here.
We're gonna go to the rendering, the color rendering of the building.
Let's back up.
Oh, one back.
You went back.
There you go. So you can see the galvanized aluminum, the Galvalume roof, natural wood weathered siding. We're going to paint the barn doors white windows for the exterior. We're going to be 1 foot taller than the picnic pavilion because as you can see, that's got the hip roof, and we're doing a full gable. So the structure has gotten considerably smaller, and really down to its main function. We will use the area in the loft up in the rafters for additional storage as necessary, but we're not going to have stairs or a floor or anything. We'll just be tucking things up in the rafters. So what questions do you have that I might be able to answer on the building?
Someone asked me today about the foundation. I assume you're just not showing that right now.
Yeah, that'll be in the architectural plan.
That's what I thought.
When we go for permitting, but it's gonna be a pretty standard, because we can't go very deep, so we're just gonna go to the frost line, because basically we'll be sitting on top of the water tank, so it'll be a 48-inch footing, a 5-inch cap, a really standard kind of garage foundation.
The floor of the shed is gonna be concrete?
Concrete, yeah, we'll do a broom finish so that when you walk in there, it's not slippery, but essentially, yeah, just like a garage floor.
Okay, so keep going now, talk about the building.
Okay, Okay, I'm just gathering my thoughts here.
Sure.
So you said that the roof was a standing seam,
Standing seam, yeah.
and that's largely its cost, it's,
Long 50-year roof, should never have to replace it. Wind's not gonna pull shingles off, it'll last.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you, okay, yeah, and it's gonna be like that, with the
Yes.
seams coming down.
With the seams.
I think my main, could you put the one back up that has the whole? Sure. Also, thank you for doing a rendering that shows the whole
My pleasure.
thing there. So I think my general comment is, I think there was a lot of concern about the two-story nature from people, what I was hearing from people. I don't know if you heard the same thing. There was a lot of pushback on the two-story
There
stuff.
was.
Okay. So I think, I think it's good that you've addressed that. I think for me, the finishes and the colors are my main issue that stands out to me. I like what you guys said about the fence, and I like what you are thinking about with the landscaping. I think that's nice. I understand that the previous rendition was, I think the budget was just too crazy. It was very integrated with the picnic pavilion. And I think that you're trying to bridge something, but I do think, when I look at it, I feel like it's very different from what's going on there. We have the one over on this side that's very rectilinear and almost sort of, I guess you could call modern. And then you've got the pavilion, which almost looks prairie style, like Frank Lloyd Wright-like. And then in the middle, you have this, and I feel like maybe if the colors were more kind of in that range of things, like, I feel like the white trim is kind of foreign. And don't get me wrong, I think as a building itself, it's great. But I think when you see it with the other two, I feel like perhaps maybe the roof being the brown color, or possibly the red color, maybe the brown, and maybe the doors being that same brown. I know it's not, maybe not what you would choose if you were putting it in your backyard, but when you're looking at it as it's in its setting, I think, I do like the way you've got the sconces that are that bronze color, but I feel like that bronze should probably be brought in to make it look more cohesive, or possibly the reddish. But even when you go look at the roof, the reddish roof, it also has some brown in it. And even the wood, I'm not positive about the wood. When it fades, will it look temporary or too, I don't know, everything's so solid there, you know what I mean? And then that wood, or maybe if you stained the wood a sandy color or a warmer color to kind of coordinate. I don't know, I feel like I'm not articulating super clearly, but I feel like on its own, it's great. But with the other two, it, to me, looks like it doesn't almost like belong there. And I'm afraid it'll look too shed-like compared to the permanent lookingness of the other two buildings. And maybe if the roofing was, you know, colored to make it look more, I don't know. I'm kind of babbling, but that's kind of
I
my
hear what you're
thinking.
saying, and
Okay.
it's subjective and it's a way to go.
Right.
Okay,
Yes.
right? We chose conceptually, we were trying to design a building that looked like it was there since the 20s. We were going for something that had its own historic nature. We weren't trying to blend in, we were trying to stand out. We were trying to make it its own identity. So just a different, we approached it from a different point of view.
Right, yeah. And also, the last thing is, I'm not actually sure, I think the barn doors are super functional, but I'm not sure about the barniness of them. And with the cross thing going on, I feel like that's a bit out of the vernacular there, and maybe if it didn't have the cross on it, it would look less that way, but I mean, that's not like, I'm not a sword to fall on, but I personally feel like, I think the design is fine, it looks like it's functioning, I feel like it seems like you've got a handle on the cost, and that's, I know, a huge deal. I just feel like the vocabulary of the coloration of it doesn't blend enough, personally. That's just me. Yeah.
Please come to the microphone.
It's all, the question was, can the doors be toned down? All those color choices are possible. So I've been following the direction, like my own vision in the beginning, and then what the yacht club has asked for, and we ended up here. Yes, we could go from a colorway, we can go in a different direction.
Can we pull up the actual shelter, because that looks very nice in comparison to the actual shelter, in my opinion.
Yeah, the shelter itself, because it's essentially it's rock, you know, it's just kind of weathered and gray on the base.
It's farther down.
No, there you go.
No, farther.
Oh, you've got your close-up? There you go.
That's what it looks like.
As opposed to the rendering. So it's weathered wood and the weathered stone.
There's no red really on it.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, like, maybe the the bronze is more in keeping, since that is coming across more brown and bronze, maybe that would, and then all the trim on the bigger building is that bronze color, so maybe that's a way to tie it in. I feel like it needs to be a little more tied into the vocabulary that's there, personally.
It's reasonable.
Okay, Neil?
I've got, you mentioned standing seam roof, but also there's a brochure in here for met tile roofing and another one for Milan roofing shingles. You confuse me as to what the heck you're putting on there.
I'm sorry. If you, in the slide presentation, you can go to the standing seam. This is what we're recommending.
Well, I think, it seems to me you guys have got some decisions to make, and then come back here and show us what you actually plan to do.
That's what they're doing.
Well, no, I mean, I don't know what color the standing seam is. It's not one of these.
It's the galvalume. The galvalume standing seam.
I don't see anything in here
It's
that,
like silver.
they, see, what else have I got? It talks about gooseneck lights, but then at one point in here somewhere it says there may not be any electricity.
Yeah.
There will absolutely be electricity. We've had to work with the Park District to figure out what we're going to do with merging that to hopefully borrow from the shelter. Unfortunately, the person that we know at the Park District had a death in the family, so we've not been able to connect to them, but we've been assured by the zoning and Park District informally that we will there's no chance we will not have electricity. We just don't have a formal answer to you yet as to where it's coming from. But there will never be a point where there won't be electricity.
Okay, it seems like you've got it on both sides of you. It shouldn't be that hard to do what you just said.
Right.
It's 10 feet away. I want to interject something here, just to kind of lay the ground as I see it, because I have watched all the zoning board meetings and the village board meetings that's been associated with this project. And if we go back in history before that all started, in some of the early village board meetings, and this is where Sue's coming from, there was a sort of a drive by to try to make these buildings relate to each other. And one of the schemes that you inherited, they had that kind of roof, and, you know, it was gonna be hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that whole scheme. So then you went to the second story scheme, which everybody blew that one out of the water. And when you got to this one, the notion from what I understand from the public reaction is it doesn't need to relate to this building, which has nothing to do with anything, or this building, which is a standalone, that it can be its own thing. You know, that's the way I understand the end up between the village board and the zoning board. Now, that doesn't,
Okay.
yeah, so that's a big shift in the thinking. And there may be people online that don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So the idea of matching the roof and matching the colors, we may want to take a second, think about that. So I just wanted to bring that up because we're kind of going on old news. And I've watched all these meetings and seen the progression of what has gone on. And so this is where it's at right now as far as the zoning and the village.
Yeah, they've both, I don't know, tentatively approved this scheme.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I can appreciate that, but I think I still stand on, as far as my place on the board, I still stand on thinking that if the colors in the sort of vernacular could match a little bit, or at least nod to it, I think it would look better. That's all.
Okay.
And I certainly agree with the idea that it doesn't have to match either of the buildings.
Well, it's not gonna match either, no matter how you crack it, because it's completely different, but if it could coordinate even, that might be nice, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. I did not watch all the things that you watched, and I was wondering, when one of your letters here says, the opposition, what is the opposition?
The opposition was scale, and so we've addressed it by shrinking it. The second opposition, there was some opposition along your lines where to coordinate with the other buildings. We kind of argued against that. We wanted to create our own vernacular. And then it came down to fencing and landscaping. Really, those would be the, well, first of all, let's just be honest. The first one was there were people who didn't want anything there. So, okay, so there was that. Then it was scale, then fencing and landscaping.
Well, I have no trouble with the 6-foot picket fences.
Me neither.
And
Right.
I think the smaller building is gonna fit in there fine. And I agree with all your comments about getting the right color in there. That's not gonna make it cost more, it's just.
No, it's a style.
There's a big difference in the appearance. So that's all I've got.
Art?
How is this going to be installed?
So we're going to use pressure-treated cedar tone 2x6 structure on the inside for framing. And essentially it gets screw, it's tongue and groove, so they fit together. And you screw them through the tongues and the groove, so the fasteners are all hidden, and they're just attached to the framing. Just like that.
Okay, so it's going to be horizontal.
I was just
Horizontal.
gonna
The
ask.
joint is going to be
Horizontal, exactly, in that shiplap style.
So it's that thick?
It's that thick, it's 3/4. We're going, because
You need the structure.
you need the structure, and that's what's holding it together. Because we're not gonna do plywood, we're not building it like, we're building it like a big shed as opposed to a house. So we're not gonna have plywood and sheathing and all that, so
Going to
the,
have sufficient wind bracing with just that siding?
yes.
Is that the thickness of the channel, is that, are
Yeah,
those
they're-
samples, or is that actually it?
That's the actual size. They're 5.5 inches with the, with the 1/4 inch gap in between.
Anything else, Art? What do you think?
The standing seam metal roof, to me, I don't know, I'd see maybe do asphalt shingles similar to the shelters. I mean, you know, that just seems just way out of, you know. Now, maybe you've got this sculptural element down there that you want to get to, but I don't know, with some sort of, what's the word I'm thinking of? You know, acknowledgement of what it's surrounding, you know, the buildings and so forth. Because, you know, in fact, I think the Park District shelters are fairly good-looking buildings, you know, and, anyway, that's my point in, you know, if the rest of the board thinks standing seam is fine, then, you know, I'm certainly okay with it.
Wasn't there another shingly looking thing in the packet? Did you look at that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Really odd stuff.
Is it weird stuff? Oh, never mind.
But, you know, and the other thing is I would think that the asphalt shingles would be a significant budget, you know, significant savings in terms of budget.
Shorter term. What we're trying to do is
I get the life cycle
Yeah,
costing
exactly.
and all of that stuff.
There you go.
but
So that's what
you can buy several
Yes.
asphalt shingle roofs. The last thing is there was some discussion of part of the fencing is gonna be chain link, and part of it's gonna be the iron fencing.
Yes.
On the floor plan here, or the site plan, I don't see any indication of where that change occurs.
That happened, it happened, it's, the sides and back will be chain link, that's right? 16 feet back. So we'll go across the front, 16 feet back, so that from when you're walking towards it, you'll only see the black iron and then chain link around the back.
And then I noticed there's 3 styles here. Are you leaning toward one?
The flat top.
Okay.
Is there a option for a dark bronze style of color on the fence, or is it black, or is it only offered in black?
Well, we just thought that the gooseneck lights that were black would match the black fence. We could do a brown.
Bronze
We
and
just figured
bronze.
most picket fences that I see are black. Black's neutral. Brown just seems like we're kind of trying to make it cute, and I feel like neutral's better down there. Doesn't conflict with anything. That was just our opinion, but.
My opinion is, again, this is the subjective nature of this. If we were doing browns, maybe we'd go bronze, but we're going silvers and grays, so we chose black.
You guys done?
I'm finished.
Okay, because I'm going to disagree with this about everybody. And I'm the only one.
Right.
So I like the idea of the standing seam roof as long as it's the galvanized color. Because the other colors, these things are pre-enameled, they're probably, I can't think of what they
They're
painted.
painted,
Yeah, and they're kind of garish. No
Powder
matter-
coated? They're powder coated,
Yeah.
probably?
Well, however they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, to me, anything that's a color is garish. Anything that, even if it's black, it's shiny. And I'm gonna go back to where you guys, I think, originally started from, which was back to the old New England boat shed.
Correct.
I don't think they had really standing seam then, but, you know,
No, they would have.
if it's the sort of painted gray, which is what this ends up to look like, it fades. I've never seen this stuff used as siding, but that's amazing. But I don't know how you're gonna get a color on that.
We're not going to. So what they do with that, they take pine or ash and then they cook it. It changes the material molecularly, so it ends up being a 30-year warranty on this product, so it lasts forever. You can stain it, and it'll stay brown, or you can oil it, Or you just let it weather and it turns silver.
Really?
In about 4 years. Just like a cedar fence, you know. A cedar fence starts kind of yellow and then it goes to gray. This
And it goes to
will-
black, so this never goes to black like cedar will.
No, it'll
then-
turn silver. Now, I can't say never because the environment has everything to do with that. But it should turn silver as it ages.
So that is actually a structural element to the building,
It is a structural element of the building.
instead of corner bracing and all that.
Exactly, that's why we're going with the 3/4 tongue and groove. That's what holds the building up. And I would say on your silver roof, the reason I like a galvanized roof is it reflects the environment. It reflects on a blue sky day, the roof looks blue. On a gray day, it blends in. It reflects everything around.
It's not a highly visible element,
It goes away.
yeah. So anyway, I'm okay with all of that. The only thing I was looking at was the lamps on the front. Why they're not centered in the wall that they're on.
Because of the way the door is open. It's
I thought of
so
that too, I'm like, wait, the barn doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the
Okay.
barn door is open,
Excuse me for being stupid.
they're centered in the spaces that
Yeah.
are left when the
All
doors are
right,
open.
I guess that's a pretty good reason. What are the doors gonna be made out of?
We'll make those out of pine. We'll build them by hand and paint them.
Okay, and they're on the barn door hinge?
Yeah, we'll have a double track, so the middle doors slide over the outside doors, and then they both move to the side, so they stack on the edges, and they'll hang on a double track.
So you're showing corner posts?
Corner.
I mean, yeah.
Boards,
at the
corner boards?
corners, right, yeah.
Yes, I'm showing those, but I have an idea we're gonna try it on site. Because of the thickness and the finish of this material, we can get rid of the corner boards and we can lace them so they almost look like dovetail joints on the corners. And it could be really beautiful that way. But we'll have to experiment with that in the field.
So is this gonna be insulated on the inside?
It will not.
Just,
Yeah, no heating, no air conditioning. Yeah, it will not be insulated.
okay. That's all I've got for the building. Did you guys want to I'll talk about the fence as long as I'm talking. Yeah, I think the 6-foot fence is fine. There's many places that don't have anything. As you mentioned, Lake Forest, Highland Park has just got stands out there in the sand. I think so does Winnetka if they still have them. Anyway, the fencing itself is the black and it's the aluminum fence, the flat top, not the spiky things. And it's gonna go back 15 feet. How far out from when you're coming around the bend, how far out from the water treatment plant are you? Sewage treatment plant?
Could you go to the
Is
to
it
the
like
site
15 or
plan?
20 feet?
I think it's half the building. So the building is 20, so I think it's about 12 feet. So the building is going to be about 12 feet proud of the water treatment plant. And so the fence will go back 16. So the fencing will go behind, the aluminum black fencing will go behind the water treatment plant. So you won't see the chain link until you kind of get around the water treatment plant.
I guess I still don't understand where it's gonna become chain link.
16 feet back.
Well, if you look at it's a plan.
Chain link,
The way it'll work is,
from here to here.
Neil?
this is black aluminum to about here, and then it turns chain link.
Oh, I thought you had said the chain link would be in the back.
It is, it goes,
No, it's on the sides also.
Well, yeah, but only from here back. So
when it goes back there.
and behind the water treatment.
unless you go between the fence and the pavilion, that's 10 feet. Nobody goes in there, right there.
So it's all visible from here.
Not really. You got the fireplace and all that, so what?
Yeah.
That's probably the most expensive part of the whole project.
But you said it'll also be black, so.
Is the chain link's gonna be black?
Yes.
Never saw that. Okay. Anything else? So we don't have an agreement here on anything. Oh, I got one other thing to say about the plant material. That's called Carl Forester. And that's one of the plants that's known as a gas station plant.
That grass?
Yeah, that
Okay.
grass, because it grows, it needs no tending whatsoever. You cut it down in the fall, and so what?
Yep.
Because nobody's there, and then it gets to be about this tall. And it's a highway hazard, but they plant them in the highways too. And it's a great material. And I think if you just try and not make it landscaping because you're planting in sand, I don't know how it does in sand.
We'll we'll have to find a
It's
grass.
fine in salt, obviously, because it's along the roadways, so. But,
I did talk to Nick Patera, and he said that it does do okay in sand, he thought.
good.
Yeah.
Because the simple is better,
And it's indestructible, and that's
and
what
it's
we're,
indestructible.
that's what we're going for.
And it's a dime a piece when they go, you know, so maybe 20 cents a piece. So I think that's all I've got.
Do you want to hear from the public?
Yes, well, somebody back there had a question first. Yes,
Come on up, Tim.
come up, please, introduce yourself.
Thank you very much.
And if anyone on the Zoom wants to speak next, hit the button to raise your hand.
Yes.
Should I restrict my comments to just the exterior? Some of my comments were about interior components, and I'm not sure what the purview of
Well,
this.
that's really not, you know,
That's what I didn't know.
if you're the author of the letter we have about the size of the racks and whatnot,
Yeah.
that's for the club to figure out.
Okay, well, I'll just restrict myself to the exterior.
Okay.
My name is Tim Flente. I live at 710 West Blodgett Avenue. I managed the compound for over 10 years. I'm on the Parks and Beaches Committee, and that's where I saw the plans. I had comments at the committee meeting, and Jennifer Beeler suggests I write an email to the Park District, which I did, and she also just suggests I come to this meeting, but I'm only here as a citizen, not as a representative of the Park District. I also own apartment buildings in Rogers Park, so I have a fair amount of experience with security, gates, fences, et cetera, and I'm just gonna give you my impressions and my experience from when I was compound manager. A 6-foot cyclone fence was worthless. Even with barbed wire on top, people would be able to climb over it very easily. So I know you've already discussed this, but my suggestion was with an 8-foot fence, preferably with closely spaced pickets to eliminate hand and footholds, because that's what they would do, is they would climb over the fence that way. But if the pickets were close enough together, couldn't get the foothold, plus they wouldn't be able to pass stand-up paddleboards out between the bars, which is also something people like to do. And my concern with this is more public safety than theft. You know, I know there are boats out on the beaches, but what we had is people using the compound as communal property. People, especially kids, going in there and grabbing stand-up paddleboards, going out on the lake without a leg leash, and every year 4 or 5 people die by drowning because they take something that they aren't able to use. They fall off, blows away. They fall out of a kayak, can't get back in. So that's really my main concern, was more, it's unsafe to allow equipment to be taken out of the compound by people who don't own it or aren't able to really manage it. So my recommendation was for an 8-foot fence, preferably with closely spaced pickets. I'm just worried about the attractive nuisance that the compound poses, especially for non-members getting in there. I know the village probably has insurance and the Park District does as well, but it's a concern, especially early in the season with hypothermia. The gates. I noticed that all the gates are double gates. I think they're harder to secure than a single gate. And I don't know that you can use any kind of keyless entry system with a double gate. What we had was basically padlocks, and people would have keys, and people would duplicate the keys, and many more people in the community than were members had access to the compound. That was dangerous. I numbered the keys and had do not duplicate keys, but that was not foolproof. I mean, the best solution would be some kind of card system such that you know who enters, it can't be duplicated, you know when they're in the compound, so you have a record. Things would happen at the compound. We had no record, we didn't have cameras, so I think some thought ought to be given to security on the gates. Even some kind of closing system, people would leave the gate open, and it'd be open half the day. People would come and go. You don't know who's taking stuff out. You don't know if they're a member. We actually had somebody staffing the gates during the busiest hours. That was the best system, checking to see if people were really authorized to be in the compound. And I know you touched on it, but cameras and security lighting would be, I think, important goals. I know that you're addressing the electricity issue. There was also the internet issue with respect to the cameras, whether they be live, whether you store the images there. But I think it'd be important to have security lighting and cameras so you know who comes and goes, and when something happens, you can review the footage and try to figure out what happened and who did it. So we were lucky for a number of years, but a lot of things happened around that compound, and I really can't believe we were that lucky. And so I hope that aesthetics are important, but public safety is important as well. So that's my concern, and thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much. I think it did occur to me when I saw in the village that you were probably going to get electricity from the pavilion, that is an opportunity for some sort of security, whether it's hidden cameras or security lighting. I got that on my house, and every time a squirrel goes by, you know, things ring and lights go on, and it drives me nuts. But some way to control that. Is there a sliding gate as opposed to a swing gate that would work? Not a just a manual one.
You've got a very gently sloping
You're right.
side.
I remember the old gates.
The one that goes close to the picnic shelter, that was easy, the other one difficult.
Going the other way.
There's locks that can be attached with, security padlocks. He's absolutely right, it's very difficult unless you have a concrete apron with cane pins to lock these things down. So you really have to have the gates locked to each other. So that's a concern that we've already sort of thought through.
Okay.
We talked about single doors, but just with sunfish, kayaks, paddles, there's no way to not have double doors, at least in our opinion, on the front. Otherwise, doors are gonna get ruined, or hands are gonna get smashed. So having it be wide open seems necessary to us. But, I mean, he's not wrong about, like, we wanna make sure we're extra careful, have it well lit,
And, those are operational things that we don't really deal with.
Sure.
But I think it's certainly worth, and if maybe not in your budget right away, but if you shake enough trees, maybe something will fall out that'll help you along the way. Anybody have anything else?
Well, I
Because we
think,
need to come up with some solution to.
no, I think you made some really good points, and I feel like maybe you guys look into a couple of those. I mean, the security is a good point. Like, if kids can pass paddleboards back, I mean, I don't know how liable, I don't know about liability as far as who would be liable if somebody took a paddleboard out at night or during the day and whatever.
Whoever had the deepest pockets.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a legitimate concern. I mean, not only just liability, but just like someone could actually be hurt for, I mean, that lake is.
I think their
mean,
parents should be liable, in my opinion, but I'm just kidding, but.
Don't people still lock their boats to the,
So this compound's new to me. I moved here in 2019. I was on a wait list till forever. So I never had a boat down there. Glover?
Yeah, it's up to the owner. Many do, but it's not required, or it hasn't been required in the past.
And is there a way to lock the paddle boards, or?
Paddleboards are restricted here. I don't know.
I don't know how you could lock a paddleboard.
Right, you'd have to have it in like a,
But if you leave the fin on it, I mean, you can't get it through a fence.
would the fence come on?
The takeaway for me is that if it was necessary, I think you could add 2 cameras with motion activated, not on those doors. I mean, usually the only people unlocking doors and when the club's being used is on the weekend when it's stacked. So there obviously are times when members go down and use it themselves. I think they're usually fairly conscious about locking it down themselves. At least that's what I've seen. I'm not sure how it was in the past, but,
I mean, Google Camera is not expensive. We just bought them for our house 2 years ago, and to his point though, I don't know what we're gonna hook it to unless Elon wants to give us his internet. We don't have internet
Well,
down there.
you could do a wireless, a cellular,
Okay,
hotspot. You'd have to pay a monthly,
right,
fee for that.
cool. Yeah, I mean, we're not against it.
our district gives us power, we have to look at.
Well, you're putting lamps on the front of it, you're probably gonna have power.
Yeah.
It's a reasonable idea.
You had one other thing in the background of the picture, it looked like a flagpole. You really gonna try and do a flagpole? So, you keep it away from the sliding doors, but a good way to do a flagpole is off the side of the building. And instead of a flagpole, it's a marine thing, it's like a cross, and then it's got a thing coming out this way. And you can get, multiple flags on it, the American flag is on this thing, and the yellow flag's over here, and the red flag's over there for bad weather. It's
That'd be great.
something that you could almost build yourself.
Good clarifying question. Should we want to put a nice wooden sign that someone carved by hand on the side of the building? Do we have permission to do so? Do we come back and show it to you first before we put it? I just remember when I came here last time.
You had it in here.
Yeah, I really just sketched that. I'm sure it looked very similar probably, unless any of our members have an objection or something better to offer. I just remember when Jersey Mike's was coming here and they were talking about putting their sign in. It was pretty particular, so I'm new to this. I don't want to put a sign up and
If I remember, you're changing the logo of the yacht club. Or at least, I don't know if it was ever formalized, but it's always, been this sort of flag with the LBYC in there.
the flag will stay. I think some sort of lettered, do you agree, Matt, like a lettered, like Bluff?
The flag logo is still the same. This example is just writing the name out.
Just the one.
That's
And I'm
it, yeah.
assuming that wherever you put it, you're gonna put it, so when the doors are open, it'll still be out on that wall, one of those walls.
Right.
And then, I don't know that we're gonna have to look at that, if that's what you're thinking you're gonna do. You think so?
I guess my thoughts on the whole thing is that I'd like to see another submission without some of the stuff that doesn't belong in here.
Like what?
Well, it seems like there were thousands of letters from the neighbors. I don't need to see those a second time.
No, but I don't know what you wanna see.
I want to see what the actual colors are that they picked and samples of them. You're talking about it being silver gray there's probably 50 different colors of silver gray.
Can I go through the exact choices of everything we've chosen? Because I have it, I was trying to do this between my job on a volunteer basis and give you guys all the information possible. Unfortunately, this is not my full-time job, but I wish it was. This bottom right is the actual color that we're going for. The gooseneck light that is in there from the company is in the packet. The roof, specific to what Ted mentioned, galvanized, is exactly what we want. The white trim is exactly what we want. The 6-foot aluminum fence with no points on top is exactly what we want. The grass is exactly what we want. There's no choices that we haven't chosen. I'm sorry that the brochures include other things that make it maybe confusing.
Well, it's fine that they were there.
Yeah, I get where it can be confusing. I think ultimately, I can't generate a PDF from these companies that generate these myself, but everything is chosen. There's no vagueness about anything we want to do, in my opinion.
Okay. What color are the doors gonna be?
The barn doors?
Yeah.
White. Same color as the trim.
So I'm guessing that as far as what the galvanized roof looks like, that would be the example.
Okay.
So what is the spacing on the fence? Is it 4 inches, 3 inches on the pickets?
3 inch size, in between 4-inch centers, the spacing between has to be underneath that, so it's usually.
That's the ocean.
Are there fences that, I forgot, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your first name. Tim, are there fences like Tim was suggesting that maybe are a little bit narrower, that you wouldn't be able to like?
I think that this gentleman's experience in the city is very different than what we're doing on the beach here. And I think that this fence, I think you can, if you're very motivated, you can get over any 6-foot fence. I'm motivated, I've been over fences. This is not designed as a high security, we're not putting spears on top, we're not putting barbed wire. I just came from a quote this morning for the Army Corps of Engineers, we got 2 feet of barbed wire on top of the fence. That's not this fence. This is a barrier fence. This says, right here, what's in here, thank you very much. So it has a very good purpose. Yes, there are fences that are no-climb fences. The only time we've used those is for like solar arrays or high voltage situations. They're fences that are made out of fiberglass that are non-conductive. I mean, there's all sorts of different crazy stuff out there. But I think that for the purposes of what we're trying to do here, to kind of delineate where boats are stored, I think this is a fairly good compromise of a lot of different ideas.
So I guess,
I feel very adamant about not putting some points on top of this.
right.
This is not sending that message, and in a public space, I don't think the city would be, the village would be advised to put points on top of it.
So I guess I'm thinking, as far as people going over the top of it, we're saying that in the back, if they really want to go over, they're going to go over the back
Wish
anyway.
that had been in the presentation.
6 foot, 6 foot.
Right, but even if we did an 8-foot fence at the back, it's still going to be 6 feet, right?
It's, I mean, I don't think you're really gaining anything except, visual mass.
Right.
Going to 8 feet.
And
There's
the,
nothing that's really attractive inside, other than the thrill of joyriding on the paddle.
well, that's what I was just going to say. I mean, I think if the fence height, if we're not going to really keep people out with a higher fence, because if they're going to go in, they're going to go in, and/or they can slip over the back where the hill is. But the main concern is that kids are down there, and it's after hours, and it's at night or whenever, and they could take a paddleboard and go out. No life jacket, whatever, just because they think it's funny or fun.
They go to Lake Forest then. It's sitting on the beach.
I know, but that's fine, but we aren't Lake Forest, and we're
I get it.
worried about us, right? So I guess what I'm thinking is, is there a way to address that? We leave the fence where it is, but we somehow figure out a way to secure the paddle boards. I'm not sure kids are gonna wheel a sunfish out, but I could see them possibly taking paddle boards out. Like, is there a shed door that can have a lock on it? Is there, I mean, is there some rack that can be, you know, have an arm that comes across? I don't know. I mean, is there some way to look into possibly securing the paddle boards?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I could see there's something like you're talking about with an arm that.
Yeah, like a hinge and a 2x4 and another one down at the bottom or whatever, like some way to like rack them up so they can't get them out.
We're gonna have,
I don't think that the fact that the village has approved a 6-foot fence around the facility, I think that in terms of liability, y'all are done. I mean, Altoona is building a very attractive nuisance down the street. And what is you required to do? Put up a 6-foot fence. Every construction site in the state of Chicago has a 6-foot fence. Not a 7-foot, not an 8-foot. They have a 6-foot fence. That's the barrier, and there's a very attractive nuisance on most construction sites. So 6-foot kind of sends the message. That's kind of the norm. So I understand the concern about what if, but I think in reality, what if is a pretty small possibility. That's just my opinion.
we can't police
You
people.
could take a paddleboard and slide it through there.
You'd just have to go, you'd have to push it.
You'd have to push it
You'd have to
over.
push it over.
I just recall that the compound used to be, I think, Tim, you might remember, know for certain.
It's
Was
on
that a
this.
6-foot or an 8-foot chain link fence?
6 foot with,
But then it had barbed wire on the top of it.
but they would just put a towel on top.
Exactly, and over they would go. But,
Chain link was worthless.
right, but on the other hand, you know, there is the old adage, you know, locks keep honest people honest. And, you know, is an 8-foot fence a better lock than a 6-foot fence? I don't know. I think we've beaten this
Yeah.
into the ground at this point, but,
I
I
think,
don't think so. When I was a kid in high school, if there was no fence, like in Lake Forest or Highland Park, we didn't bother with it. If it had a fence, it was there to be.
that it was a
done.
challenge.
I think no fence is the way we
And
should
I didn't
end
care
this.
if it was 6 foot or 8 foot, we'd go right over it.
It's like hot, wet paint, you know, you gotta touch it.
Yeah. I think I'm fine with the 6-foot fence. I would like to see some thought around possibly securing the paddle boards. That's my input. I'm not saying, you know, you can't, I'd like to see some, here's what we thought of.
We can secure, because we're gonna have club-owned paddleboards and kayaks. That's kind of why I joined the board. So that's my project. I can't do anything about anyone else who rents storage down there. If I tell someone to lock it, they're not gonna do it. They rent storage, there's nothing I can do to make them do that. So I can do it for our 6 paddleboards and our kayaks, but like, we can't, there's nothing I can do to tell someone who's renting storage space from us to say you have to mandatorily lock it. Maybe I can, but we don't have anything planned for that.
Well, I would say if you'd look into seeing if there is a way to lock it somehow, and so that when you go to get your paddleboard, there's a padlock that everybody has a key to that owns it, that has their paddleboard there, you open it, you take your paddleboard, you put it back in, and, I mean, I think it would be something, and if, I don't know, maybe tell people, hey, if some kid comes and takes your paddleboard because it's laying out there, and they are hurt or die, you're liable. I don't know, you know what I mean, like, I don't know, but I'm just feeling like, is there some, some way, like,
Something that at least brings some ideas, you know, to the table.
Yeah, I would appreciate that just for peace of mind, where like, we can all be like, okay, yes, there's the liability, but also there's like possible loss of life. So that we're sort of like being okay with, now that we've talked about it, we're like, oh yeah, I guess we'll just not worry about it. But I think we should at least try to see if there's some solution. And I think whatever the solution would be cheaper than the difference between the 8-foot fence and the 6-foot fence. So I feel like if we stay with the 6-foot fence, knowing that people are gonna go over it, but we try to lock what seems to be the biggest, easiest hazard, maybe that's, I'd like to at least to see an exploration of that.
Is it just paddle boards you had problems with, or is it everything?
Primarily paddle boards, but kayaks also scare me a bit because sit-in kayak, if you don't have expertise, you fall out of it, you can't get back in.
Right.
And you die, and it's a spring and the water's cold.
Right.
What we did is we tried to mandate locking your boats. That was not successful, I will admit. We put a U-bolt next to each slot, and they theoretically could grab a cable through their boat, but there's very few ways to really secure a kayak because you can cut through wherever you attach the cable through usually, or in a paddleboard is even more difficult. I was thinking, you were talking about like a swing with a padlock. If you had vertical storage like we're talking about, you could have each slot could have a swing with a padlock that the person would provide a padlock or whatever, and that would effectively keep the board in the slot. You couldn't get it out without lowering that swing because you have a top on it too, right? You couldn't go up. Anyway, those are my thoughts, but primarily paddle boards, but also kayaks. Sunfishing.
We do have someone online.
Yeah, let me just say, we're getting into the weeds of things that were not under the purview of this group. Believe it or
I
not.
think it gets to the 5 versus the 6 versus the 8-foot fence.
Yeah,
is
and I
where
don't think it matters.
Right, so
Yeah.
that, I think that makes us back to
Yeah.
the 6, right?
As far as I'm concerned, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay. John Beeler, go ahead if you'd like to speak.
Yes, hi, can you hear me? Are you able to hear me? Hi.
Go ahead, we can hear you. You're getting feedback now.
Okay, how is that? Is that better?
Perfect.
Go.
Okay, can you hear me now, Mike?
Yes.
Don't answer.
Go ahead, John. We don't hear the feedback when you talk. We only hear it when we talk, so go ahead.
Okay, are you able to hear me now, Mike?
Yeah, we can hear you. There's an echo at the end of when you talk, but we can hear you, so go ahead.
Sorry about the echo, I'm not sure what's going on with that. But John Beeler, Lake Bluff Park District, appreciate the moment to just give you a few comments on behalf of the Park District. First, I just wanted to quickly say we appreciate, in looking at the height of the structure, that being brought from 21 feet down to the 15 feet 9 inches. I do believe that's a great improvement. It's going to be much better for the layout down at the beach. In talking to staff, we were concerned about the height of the fence being only 6 foot. I do like that it's an ornamental fence. I think it's going to look great and be a big improvement, but the 6 foot, is a concern just for safety and for people, entering the compound during off hours and perhaps removing things. Another concern would be, the lights that are being used. I assume there's some sort of photometric plan that was submitted to the village that would probably follow the village ordinance in, you know, in the, how much light is used down there. We are open, the park district's open to talking about the power, in sharing access to the power from the shelter facility for this new facility. The only other thing that I would mention that's actually a very big concern for us is really the timing of the construction. So as these, you know, it kind of takes more meetings for the review, and then, you know, the actual construction to start. We're concerned that, you know, whether the construction would affect the operation of the South Beach area after Memorial Day, between Memorial Day and Labor Day, when our prime season is. As you know, our residents have kind of suffered through construction with NSWRD project for almost 2 years, and so we're definitely concerned about, you know, whether that construction is all within the footprint of the compound and whether that would affect the operation of the beach. So that's just kind of a few comments that I had on behalf of the Park District.
Chat comment. Fence stuff, I mean, kind of blew in the face on talking about totally concerned. I mean, someone tells us 8, we're 8, but I think we're good at 6 if you're okay with it. Construction, we've talked about it a lot. We never really thought we'd see the light of end of day with board meetings, but hopefully that's close. And if we get permission to build, and as soon as it's not frozen and we can do it before, great. We'd love to have it ready for season. That's something we can talk about. I don't think it will be. Our idea in the interim was to still provide as many services as possible to our community, because we want to bring back the yacht club so people don't forget that it was a thing. So our thought was to do the temporary fence again like we did last year, but purchase the racks for the boats. And then post-season, we'll build the building in the late summer, early fall. We really just want to provide as many services as possible, because we haven't had any services really for a long time. So I think, you know, after a nod to Ted right now, I think the building will be built late summer, early fall. Obviously, we can't build right now, but our goal is to hopefully maybe have some sort of fence and the rack so that we're basically functional, if that helps. Did I miss something? What else were we talking about?
That was in response to what he was talking about.
Right, so
yeah.
that, I thought he had 3
I mean-
things. Fence, lighting. What is it?
Photometric plan, lighting.
Okay, lighting. Yeah, I got
You know, I don't, we went through the whole lighting system out there at Blair. This is not the same thing. I think the last thing you want to do is put a whole bunch of lights down there around this pavilion. And people go down there with, you know, build, you know, bonfires and stuff like that. And it's, you don't want to have neon all over the place.
Yeah.
So the bulbs in your light are gonna be, you know, fairly low wattage bulbs that aren't very powerful, right? Not
Yeah.
putting out a ton of light in those.
No,
Yeah.
we don't want to have a bunch.
Did we have somebody else?
No one else is asking to speak. No one else is raising their hand.
Oh, okay. So, what do you think, people?
I don't know. Let's figure out what we can agree on. Where are we on the fence? We're at, maybe 8 foot's just safer all along. Like, maybe there's less downside on the 8 foot. Is it hugely more expensive? Is
6
it?
foot is plenty expensive.
Yeah. Is the 8, I mean, is the difference between the 6 and the 8 a great deal of money? Yeah, like about how much? Like, just to get a, is it like like,
You're changing from a residential style fence to a commercial style fence, you're probably adding a third of the cost of the whole project.
oof.
Yeah. It's significant.
So the perimeter fencing is probably close to 300 feet.
Everything gets, the gates get a lot more expensive, you know, a couple grand more gate, you got 4. It's just, I mean, everything starts to cascade. So it's, from a budget point of view, the 6, I think, is right solution, gives you everything you need.
I guess I have an issue with forcing a raise to 8 feet, that if the 6 feet fits the building code and it fits the city requirements, it just doesn't seem to me that we should be forcing them to go over and beyond that.
Actually, I don't think there's a requirement for any fence.
Well, based on the other 2 cities, I think you're right.
Yeah. Is it?
Right, no, there isn't.
Yeah, there is no
Right,
requirement.
no
So
building
this
code
is, this is,
requirement.
you're, and the village board and you guys would like to make this be what it is. What,
I think I'm okay with the 6-foot fence, with the grasses, with coming back with some kind of possible solution or idea for securing the paddle boards.
but
Possible,
again, that's a great idea, but that's not our problem.
I know, but for me, that's like can we make a provision of like, for me, that's like I'd feel more comfortable with the 6-foot fence if there was a way to secure the paddle boards. Is that not anything we can say? Or do we just
We
have
can
to?
say that, but it's not within our purview, I don't think.
Yeah,
just
not
like
within our purview to require it.
to require it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're the aesthetic side of all this
Right.
stuff.
Okay.
Susan, question I've got for you is, I hadn't seen that rendering that until you just.
Yeah,
pointed it
that's a great
through,
little thing.
Is,
That
the
opens
concern
your
I've
eyes.
got, the biggest thing on the building, that was the colors that you raised, the questions you raised earlier.
Right. Well, that's where I was going. I think we're agreeing on the construction of the building, are we not, all of us? We're agreeing on the slatted board construction, and we're agreeing on the general design of it. Art's got concerns about the standing seam. Kind of with you on that, but I'm okay on it. And I understand your point about the galvanized, because it's more true to the material, but I still think it's so foreign to everything down there, as is the standing seam.
Everything is foreign down there. See,
Yeah.
we keep thinking that we can make all these things marry together, and there is no relationship whatsoever between the two that are there.
Well, they have the same color palette.
Well,
More or
not
less.
really.
The water pinch to oh, yeah.
There really isn't. You know, we were trying to make that with the thing in between. We
Yeah.
still didn't have any relationship to the water, the sewer thing.
Yeah. I'm still on I think I'm comfortable with the design of it, the height of it, even the standing seam, the 6-foot fence. I don't love the cross pieces on the barn door. It's very barny, but maybe if they could be a little less crossy, maybe, that's me. I still feel like particularly the white is very foreign, and even, I would love to see the fence and the sconces be in a bronze. And I know what you're saying about the roof, but I may be fine, but maybe the trim not be white? I don't know. Is there a compromise somewhere there? Is where I am. I think we can agree on the height of the fence, the grass, the sconce placement, the construction of the building, the height of the building, the windows, the barn doors. I don't love the cross. I really don't like the white. I feel like
What if the trim was not bronze, because that's foreign? If it was dark gray? Is that gonna be the same material?
Wait, for what? Which part?
For the corners, where the white trim is around the windows and
yeah, and the whole big barn doors are really
well, that's gonna
glaringly
be
white.
whatever you wanna make them, with wood.
Yeah.
Windows are, we're trying to do stock windows, so we're looking at, white, or I guess we could do black, maybe architectural, but,
Bronze, there's a dark brown, bronze.
I just don't know how we're gonna match the shelter that's cinder block and it's got a stone. We don't have any, can't afford a stone facade that's halfway finished with a cinder block
I
side.
think we're away from
Well,
trying to do that.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're saying at all, like, let's take exactly these materials, because that's not what it's
Right.
gonna be. But I guess I'm saying, there is no other black down there whatsoever. There is no other white down there whatsoever. And we're already introducing this wood and this galvanized, I'm thinking, is there a way to at least try to marry it a little bit? I think the white, especially those white doors, are gonna be very, noticeable. You know, I don't know. That's kind of I know it's not gonna ever be exactly the same, of course, but I feel like it doesn't blend at all. And that's what I was thinking. Even though I like it, I mean, this is nice. Like, if I was putting it at my house or in my backyard or wherever, I think it'd be great, but I think we have to acknowledge the fact of what's surrounding it, kind of, and it is.
That's my point. This is A, this is C, we are B, and A and C don't have any relationship to each other.
Well.
But they kind of have a palette.
Another Park District building down at the other end of the.
Well, kind of, but that's
Oh, I
500
understand
feet
that,
away.
but, you know, the only thing I think of is that the beach is part of the Park District.
Yeah,
And, you know, to somehow refer to the Park District buildings doesn't seem to me to be a stretch. However,
I agree.
in the spirit of cordiality on the board, I think I'm okay with the standing seam metal. I wish it were other. I wish it were, you know, the composition asphalt shingle. But if wishes were horses, yeah.
Right.
If I was starting off with a blank piece of paper myself, it would have a standing beam roof. And in fact, I did a boathouse at Northwestern University, and it had a standing beam roof.
I mean, I think we're almost there. I think we're kind of stuck on, it sounds like we're really just stuck on finishes. The doors are paint. I mean, that's pretty easy. I mean, I think it seems like we're talking about the finish, we're talking about finishes, I think. And I don't know how we come around to.
I don't want to put a burden on you, but we're missing 3 members. And I'd like to get their opinion on this. If you wouldn't mind coming back when you can. And because if you're not going to do this until the fall, the structure and everything else we're saying is okay. The fencing, I think we're saying is okay. It's really the color. And if we could get our other 3 architects in here that would have an opinion, maybe we could settle this. That means you have to come over and spend another Tuesday night with us, which is just delightful.
Okay.
I'm just a suggestion.
Or you could just submit what you think the colors would be.
We did.
So
No, I'm just saying.
Well, maybe
that-
could you do an alternate
You know,
color
I got
thing?
nothing. This is exactly what the town wants that I've known. I've got 35 people who wrote in who said this is exactly what they want. I think the reason we all moved to this town is because every house is beautiful. They're different. Everyone cares about the character of their home. And, I grew up in a tract housing neighborhood in the west suburbs of Chicago. It's ugly. I don't want to look like the shelter. I don't want to look like the penitentiary water reclamation.
No,
Don't
we don't.
misunderstand.
Yeah.
We're not asking you to look
I know,
like a
but
shelter.
I don't
We're
know.
just interested in
I
some
get it.
kind of an acknowledgement. of
Yes.
I'm
where
out of
you are.
ideas. I don't know what else to do. I guess if you guys were to say like, hey, what are you changing? I think the weathered board looks beautiful. I mean, if you guys were designing it today as a group, tell me what to do. We have a board meeting on Monday with the village. We'd like to be done with this. My wife's at home with 2 kids and she's pregnant. I can't keep doing this. I'm not saying that's why you should make a decision. I'm just saying,
That's valid.
I don't know. I don't have another idea to come back to you with.
I'm with you.
So I guess how many yeses do I need, and how many of you are?
That's why I'm saying we look at this again, and I know that's a burden, but you don't have to do anything. And we look at it again with the whole board here. Hopefully, we can have the whole board here, or at least, 2 out of the 3 people that are missing. And then come to some agreement, because we're gonna be sitting here all night long and not really get anywhere. and that's not fair for anybody.
Well, I think you've made a huge amount of progress. I mean, like, we're just down to, is the paint trim like a darker color? Is the roof this galvanized, or is it a bronze? Is the fence a black or a bronze? I mean, those are pretty simple things, really. You know what I mean? I don't think any.
What if we were to approve it subject to re-review on the colors? Then the village board can act on it.
If you
Just
guys talk
They have
to,
to come back here only on the colors.
if these other 3 or 4 that are missing object to it, I'm happy to talk about it until we build it. I just really want to have this approved so we can go, because this doesn't end for us now. We got to go to village. We have to get the village to say yes. And then I got to go spend the summer before we have this baby due in July to raise money to do it. So until I have a yes and get this done, and we all go to the street and say, look, this is what we're trying to do for our town. This is what we're building, because the yacht club kind of fell off the horse for the last 5 years. So like, you're pushing me back another 2 months. That's another 2-3 months that I don't have to go to the town and say, this is what we want to do. We want the town to join the yacht club. So like, if there's a way you can, if you believe this is it 95% of the way, and you guys all talk to your peers and say, hey, no, this sucks, have them come back. I don't know if you can renege on your offer, but like, I don't know what else to do.
We can't do that, unfortunately, because the law won't let us do that.
Right.
One at a time, we can do.
I think we can approve it subject to, can we revisit the finishes?
I would go to the village board and say, you're home free except for a paint color on trim.
But
I mean,
also
that's
you're
my
not.
opinion. And I don't know if anybody else agrees with that, because, I'll tell you a little story about this asphalt roof on the lake shore. I belonged to a yacht club a while ago, and they had a 100-mile-an-hour wind come in. We were 100 feet off the lake shore. We lost 20 feet of land, and we lost the entire roof. $70,000 repair. Now, we don't get 100-mile-an-hour wind often, but we get 60-mile-an-hour winds all the time. You can say, well, my house doesn't lose its roof, but when you're 20 feet from the shore, that's a whole different ballgame.
And speaking of that, the roof will be super secured, in the standing seam one, right?
They're
They're really, okay.
There's nothing sticking up.
I mean, would that work for you? Is if we said yay on the 6-foot fence, yes on the whole plan, the design, the building, the construction, all of it, but we'd like to look at some
The
options?
village board isn't going to care if the trim is white
Right,
or green or red,
right.
I don't think.
The last time it was approved in 2024, it was approved with the condition that they come back with the final colors for approval. And then they went to village board and got approval. and
But
then they were to
I'm
come
saying,
back for final
there's
colors,
gotta
you
be a
know?
way to go, let them go to the board next week and say, okay, we've been to the ABR, we're done, we're talking about some trim colors. Done.
Yeah.
If someone makes that motion,
Yeah.
then we approve it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I would approach it. And that lets you keep moving forward.
I'm happy to talk about this up until we build it. If you guys want to be a part of it,
No,
I'm in.
I can see your frustration. Been there, so.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to come back and have us re-talk about the colors and trim and just because, I mean, this is our best offer as far as what we think would be
Yeah,
pretty.
I think we, if you could give us another copy of that, and that's all we need.
So we just need someone to make the motion and vote on it here, right?
Yeah,
Do that?
yeah. You get the motion, you get it?
So moved.
I didn't make it. I can't make it.
What you said earlier.
Okay.
To
what you
approve
said.
it with the
Approval
colors to
subject-
come back,
Subject to, how did you word it?
to the colors returning here for approval?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
a trim. Don't make it the
Trim
color.
color, just
a
the
trim color.
trim color, okay.
And this isn't part of the motion, but the only comment I have on the colors is I'd like to see factory finish anywhere you can. because when you put a paint, particularly down by the water down there, when you put paint on it, it's gonna come off quicker than you think.
There's no paint.
The doors are gonna be.
The doors are painted.
Oh, the doors.
The color on the
And there is some
windows,
trim,
like if they
yeah.
get factory finish white, but you want them to be gray.
What
it's
window are
gonna be
you gonna
painted.
use? Is it gonna be vinyl or?
Well, yeah, because.
The vinyl wrap?
There's really only the 5 in the dormer, they'll be white vinyl windows. And we're gonna make the doors in a shop, and we'll paint them in the shop, we won't paint them on the beach. So they'll be a spray coat finish, they'll be great.
I mean, that you have to paint.
They'll
That can't be factory finish is what I'm getting at,
Well, no.
The,
because there's no factory.
Or you use
Yeah,
it,
there's no factor, they're not mine.
use an opaque
I
stain.
second the motion.
Okay. Okay.
All right,
Roll
vote.
call. Member Wicks,
Aye.
Member Dolman,
Aye.
Member Cottrell,
Aye.
and Chair Hunter.
All right,
Okay, the motion passes.
it's the best we can do.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
So the trim,
Yeah,
cool. We'll definitely look at the safety thing. Let's talk maybe.
that'd be great.
I don't know, because then I have to tell people who rent space, let's figure it out. There's a will, there's a way. So,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
That's,
more safety is
Yeah.
that's not our purview.
The one thing I remember.
Well, exciting for them. I wonder, I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be fundraising no matter how you build it. Yeah.
You know, parts of swimming suits and, you know, stuff like that. And therefore, I thought, you know, people would say, well, we didn't like the thick bushes and all that stuff. But believe me,
Well,
what it concealed was,
hard one. It's a contentious
Yeah,
one.
it is.
I just feel like, oh,
Mr. Crow,
I mean.
more stuff to recycle.